Hello, this is Sky recording live from Twitch TV. We are continuing on. We've got quite a bit happening here. We got our sound system getting closer and closer to complete. So, like I said, we're going to finish our volume off and continue on to our sound manager, which is basically our top level handler for everything. So, let's get started. Get this thing going. So, one thing I was going to do is I was going to have the volume kind of adjust all the levels based on percent. I think I'm going to get away from that. That's kind of a bit more complex than it needs to be right now, so it's all going to just set the volume to the same thing, everything in the layer. It's going to just be easier instead of having to store everything in some sort of collection and storing the original volume, and if the volume changes on a single handle. There's a lot of logistics that are sort of an issue there. So we're just going to adjust all the layers at once. So let's get it in there. So should set the volume on all sound handles. So we'll do this, load all sounds, and we'll do sound layer volume to 0.8. And then I'm going to verify that each of the sound handles set volume is verified once. How do I do that? 0.8. And 0.8. That should do the trick. And 219. Oh, that doesn't make sense. There we go. And there we have it. So our volume is set. So private inline function set volume, or set all volume, value float to void for sound and all sounds, sound volume. There we go. That won't pass because we didn't actually call this. So volume is a variable. So set all volumes value. That'll pass. Should not be able to set the volume above 1. I'm going to blow through this pretty quick because it's nothing too complicated. Let's do 15. I'm going to turn it up to 15 this time. There we go. If the value is greater than 1. Value is equal to 1. And last value should not be able to hit the volume below 0. Negative 15. If value is less than 0. 0. Boom. There we go. So we have our sound layer complete for how much I like it. And let's continue on. Okay, just doing some things. So let's look at our sound manager. So this is going to handle like adding and removing layers, setting everything down. So we'll just create a simple sound manager. Sounds simple enough. As always, we extend the base object. And this will implement sound manager. There we go. Set this up here. Is our setter. Okay. Set. Oh. That there. Alright. Back in business. Paxlib run and unit create sound simple sound manager. Simple sound manager test. Okay. RV simple sound manager. We'll just stick with a simple name. Sound manager. Simple sound manager. Simple sound manager. All sort of normal boilerplate stuff here. One thing we need to start doing, and I forgot to do this, is we're going to go back and do this in just a minute. We need to be testing our dispose. And I keep missing that. I don't know why, there's no reason behind it. So what I'm going to do is going to say test should add sound layer to manager. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to create our, we call it sound layer. Layer, we're going to need a mock. Where's our sound at? Mock sound layer. Package sound mocks. In fact, we should probably move these. Mock sound layer implements sound layer. This is going to be getting setter. Okay, and then we need our all sounds here. Make this a getter and setter. Alright, now we're able to mock it. Let's create a couple more layers. Sound layer equals to mock. Mock sound layer. So we got some mocks in here. And we're going to sound manager. Actually, one thing we don't have in the sound manager is we need a public var all layers together. an array, I suppose. There. So I should do it. Yeah, okay. Sound manager, add sound layer, we'll call it sound effects, sound layer, and we'll call this music. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna do a search are equal sound layer. It's going to be the sound manager. Actually, it's not going to be an array. We need to make this a sound layer. We need to make this a map. String. There we go. Sound layer, all sounds. Get sound effects and music. It's going to be sound manager. All layers. Alright. Should be quick. Ooh. Oh, I need to do this on our mock sound layer. What do we have left? Sound manager line 8. This is going to be a map. And simple sound manager line 44. I need to return null. One more thing we need to add to our interface is function move sound layer by name. Just in case we need to. Okay, our test fails as it should. All layers, put name sound layer. Wrong language. There we go. That should do it. Alright, test should get sound layer by name. Get sound layer by name. Music. Get sound layer by name. Sound effects. And then we need to reverse these. Okay. It should be pretty quick to make that happen. Get should move sound layer by. Pretty easy stuff here. We're going to add the sound layer, sound manager, remove layer by name, remove the music layer, cut this one, and we need to grab this guy here, assert is null. All layers. Pretty quick there. Wonderful. Okay. So now we just need to pass on the stop all, pause all, resume all. And due to the sort of the complexity of all the layers, we're just going to call those functions regardless of what state we're in. Should pass down the should call pause all sound layers. Something I didn't remember. Sound layer. Okay, we do have a sound. So those two, sound manager. Actually, we need to do. So theoretically, once we get this created, it's going to be playing by default, which I guess is pretty cool. But probably won't work. So function play all. There we go. Play all. Okay. I'm going to do sound layer, play, verify. Basic stuff here. For layer and all layers, layer, play. There we go. We essentially need to do this for all four of those, so we're just going to lump them all together. It should be pretty easy. Pause all. Resume. Resume all. Zoom. And stop. Make sure our English makes some sense. All. Out of here.
Yeah. And then let's see. Do it.
Alright. There's all of our failures, and so this should be a quick little stop. Oops. Pause. Zoom. There we go. Put it all together. Now, in this case, we do want to should set the volume as a percentage of problem is we can't listen in on the volume change. So we could set up listeners. That might be kind of cool, so we can track the volume on this stuff of the layers. So I actually really like that idea of being able to track volume changes. So we'll put that on the sound layer. So what we're going to do is we're going to say function subscribe to volume change. Callback. Void. Unsubscribe. Volume change. So now we have a couple more tests to write for our sound layer container test. Should subscribe to volume change. And what we need to do is we need to go to our sound container, make sure we have the methods stubbed. And what we're going to do, we're actually going to pass the sound handle. Actually, kind of like our sound layer. Kind of like that idea of passing itself. So once we know what the sound, the volume is, we can actually, or that it's been changed, we can just plug right into it. So I like this idea. So what we're going to need to do, we're going to need to, it's quite a bit more complex pretty fast. So we need the object creator. Okay, and we're going to need our subscriber. And then RV object creator. Object creator. We don't need that. Okay. Object creator equals mod object creator, and then sound layer object creator, and then we're going to need to create a subscriber. Creator instance add subscriber, we're going to return the subscriber. There we go. Okay, what else do we have? Should subscribe to volume change, so we're going to do add all sounds, sound layer, subscribe to volume change. It's going to be our function, sound layer, sound layer, var callback count, x equals 0, callback count plus plus. We may as well assert or equal would be sound layer is equal to this, so this should be equal. And sound layer volume equals 0.5. So change the volume there. I think what I want to do too is by default set the volume to 1. I think I want to do that with our cost sound handle as well. Where's our init? Only 1. So our default is as loud as it gets. I'm okay with. Alright, sound layer containers almost ready to go. We're going to need our subscriber equals object creator, your instance, map subscriber, and we should have a failing test. Actually, we need to do a search our equal 1 callback count. Line 37, there's an issue. Create instance, returns, match, and then mock sound layer. We need to add our missing methods. Come on. Void. Void. Done. And that crashes, which I think probably shouldn't. Crashed on everything, so let's see if this makes a difference. Why is it failing? It might even be this test. No, it's the sound layer container test. Why is this always a weird issue? Well, this is super frustrating. It's on the sound layer container test. All sound volume. That's the only thing I changed. Whoa. You tell me that the... Oh, that's why. Okay. It's because I was setting the volume before the sounds was created. The sounds array. Okay. Here we go. So we have our cost sound test and sound handle test. Should not set volume above. This needs to be set twice because I set it on init, so that's okay. There we go. I wonder if we should do this actually. If we do sound set. Actually, it's Maka 2 reset sound. See if that makes it. Nope, that is definitely not spelling a Maka 2. See if that simplifies it, because that'll be a problem overall. There we go. Yeah, that's gonna work. So we need to go to the sound layer container test and set a similar thing. Sound layer. No. Sound handle. Okay, that's going to work. Let's subscribe to our volume change. Subscriber. Subscribe. We're going to create a here volume change. Callback. String. Volume change. Okay, and we haven't set our volume, so set all volumes. We're going to do this. I'm going to say subscriber, notify volume change, and our argument's going to be this. Boom. That's awful. I do this. Args are dynamic. I wonder if this is correct. Let's see here. So get the container. Make sure this is correct. So that's definitely the API. Let's check our mapped subscriber test. So it failed gracefully, which it is not. So that makes me think that, so we are passing args as an array, so that's correct. Let's make sure that our not subscribers being a init, that is being a init. Subscribe to volume change, set the volume. If I do this, will it crash? No. That should definitely be not null. Is it crashing before? Okay, so it's null some of the time. And so it's not necessarily this test. So we need to set this here. There we go. Should unsubscribe from volume change. Actually, we need to make sure we have that one set. Unsubscribe from volume change. And this is just straight up fail. Actually, I think we need to do a assert fail. Okay. So the first one should come through. We're going to then unsubscribe. And we're going to, those are two separate functions, so that's not going to work. We need to grab this guy, call back, sound there, void. There we go. Call back. Call back. It fails. That's because we didn't actually change it. There we go. And so now we need to go to our Soundler container. Unsubscribe. There we go. Things are really coming to where I'm enjoying this more and more. Things are coming together. So what we need to do is I'm going to kill all these, kill others. Simple sound manager test. Test should subscribe to all layers. You know what? Sound layer. I want to add another function here. Function remove all. I want that in there as well. Sound. So mock sound layer. Sound layer container. Sound layer container test. Test should remove all sounds. Add all sounds. Sound layer. Remove all sounds. Assert equals 0. Sound layer. All sounds. There we go. While all sounds length greater than 0, all sounds test should call stop when removing sound, which I think we had. pause. So what we need to do is we need to make sure that pause has been called. On all those. We'll call this sound. This might be easier. Just yeah. Yeah, this will work. So we're just gonna do remove sound, all sounds. We're gonna get 0. That should do the trick. Was invoked 0 times. Because we didn't play it, so I need to do sound layer play. There we go. Alright. Still making it better. Always continuing to improve. Said subscribe to all layers. Subscribe to volume change on all layers. Okay. Do those. And then what we need to do is we need to store a map of some sort of the sound volume map, or layer volume map. And that's going to be an object map. And the key is going to be our sound layer. And then our value is going to be our volume, which is a float. Layer volume map, new object map. Okay. We're going to make this a getter and setter. Just a getter, actually. So that we can override it if we ever needed to. And that should do what we need. Okay, so we add the sound layers, and then we need to assert a couple things we need to set up here. I'm going to set our sound layer volume returns 1. So it's going to return 0.75. 1, 2, it's going to return 0.5. So we're already at a bunch of different volumes. I'm going to call this one ambient. Actually, I'll call it UI. So we got our layers in. We do sound layer volume is equal to 0.3. Now we should be able to get assert are equal 0.3 sound manager layer volume map get sound layer volume. And 926. Mock sound layer. Getter setter volume. Saying that sound layer has no field volume. I think it's because we need to do this. Line 121. Oh. That's interesting. I bet we'll keep it. Yeah, we'd actually need to keep it that way. So there we go. We set the volume to its new value, and it's not updated yet. So we need to make sure that we assert that the original volume is set to 1, which that won't be true as well. So now, when we add our layer, add sound layer, I'd say layer volume map, set sound layer, and the sound layer volume. So that's going to be in place. We're going to need to create our inject. So the value is 1. Now you could expect it to be 3. So we're going to need our object creator. And object creator, subscriber, map subscriber. Is that what we want? No, we don't need a map subscriber. We don't need any of that. So, because all we need to do is we need to just subscribe to it. So we need to go to the sound layer, subscribe to volume change on volume changed, grf on volume changed, layer, sound layer, oops. That is wrong, and I apologize. Alright, so see, that's kind of convenient. So we actually have our sound layer here, and now we can update our volume map accordingly. So thing is that you're not checking for a second return. So we need to mock 2, reset. Actually, I wonder if we could just do this. We can just do sound layer volume returns 0.3. Not fully sure that's working, so let's try this. Set sound layer But actually, one thing we need to do, which is not being set, is when the volume is changed. So I wonder if we need to do this. Sound layer volume calls we need to call this var volume change callback. This is going to be a sound layer void sound layer void. Well, oops, that doesn't make sense. Sound layer. This is actually kind of a complicated test. So we have the volume change callback when we don't need this. We say subscribe to volume change. I'm going to give it the callback, volume change callback. Okay, actually, it's going to be cast thing because this is a mock. Calls, there we go, function, this is what we need. Args, array of args, just let it auto-resolve, void, and then args 0, volume change callback, and then so that gets assigned. So when we set the sound layer volume, actually I think we could just do this. Set the volume and then we can execute it. Trace args 0. Make sure that's actually a callback. Let's see if that does a trick. It is not. Let's think here. Because the sound manager, not sound volume, sound manager. And that's your volume. Okay. So what we need to do, so we're actually setting the master volume on all the layers. So set volume. Wait. This is it. Okay. Subscribe to volume change. We have not. Okay. Then. Just gonna add this layer. We don't need this. So this is what happens. And we're gonna need our that doesn't actually happen. It's more of a coincidence. There, that's simple. Simpler. Alright. Trace args 0. It's kind of complicated. Alright, okay, so that's what needs to happen. So we need to do args. We need to call the function correctly. And then sound layer. There, passed. Whew. Okay, so let me explain here what we did here. So we're setting up the mock to set the volume to 0.3, we're going to subscribe to the volume change. So when we invoke, so when we add the layer, it's actually going to auto-subscribe. And then as soon as we subscribe it, we're actually just going to call it right away. We could actually store it as a separate function if we wanted to, but this is simple enough. We don't need to store it as another variable. So as soon as it subscribes, we're taking that function that it passes in. So it would be, where's it at? As soon as it passes in this function, we're going to call it right away. And we're going to update the current volume, and then we're just going to check against it. So that makes sense. It does work. Should unsubscribe to volume change when removed. So we're going to set this up again as a benchmark. So we add the sound layer like that, and then we're going to effectively do this. We're going to set this to 5. Technically this should be null actually, so this would be is null. And then unsubscribe to volume change if we call it, which we can't. So this one we do need to store volume change. It's going to be sound layer void. This one we want to actually store. Volume change equals args 0. So that one we're storing. So we add the layer. So that's in storage. And then we need to sound manager removes unsubscribe from volume change. And that's cast any. So we don't actually need to do anything with that. And now I'm going to do volume change. Sound layer. So now that should just be null anyways. And what we need to do, that volume change should be fine. Shouldn't crash though, let's try that. So, it's saying that the volume is 0.3. Okay, so yeah, so it is not null, so now we can do where's our sound manager? Sound layer by name. This should give us our sound layer, and then layer volume map. Remove sound layer, and then we need to do our. Actually, what we need to do is we need to do this. Verify. There we go. What's the problem here? Sound manager 79. I think I need to cast this. No, that won't work. So what's the problem? Says should be get all layers remove name. Remove that sound layer, and then we need to talk to our sound layer. Sound layer, unsubscribe from volume change. On volume change. That should do it. Come on. No. Was not null. Line 39. 139. So here. I don't think we actually change. So we add the sound layer. Sound manager removes sound layer by name. SFX. Okay. It's still saying that layer volume map is returning that, so why is that? Remove sound layer by name, trace sound layer. Sound layer mod. So that did come through. All layers remove. Will that actually give us anything? True, so it was actually removed. Layer volume map. So that was removed. So at 141, assert is null. So it's saying that sound layer volume map, sound layer. It's returning 0.3. See if we can see trade. Okay, for key in layer volume map keys. Trace key, trace layer volume map get key. Oops. See if this gives us any insight. So key is mod. See, it's not being, actually isn't being removed, is it? Let's do a quick assertion. We can do this. Sound manager. Equal to sound layer. See if that gives us any more insight. Line 142 is true. So it's definitely not being removed. And I don't know why yet. So if we actually manually remove this, layer volume up, remove sound layer. It actually passes, so it's not a problem with it's not a problem with the layer map. We're just gonna, oh, we can't break this interface yet. If we do, say here, let's try trace sound manager, all sound manager, all layers, sketch, sound effects. I should put it up here. It's equal to sound layer. Are they the same? They are the same. That is so weird. So yeah, search is null. Sound manager. All layers. Sketch. Sound effects. So that passed. That is weird. That is super weird. I don't need this open anymore. Or this. Okay, so why is this not happening? So why don't we try this? It seems like weird too, but get the layers. It would unsubscribe to the volume change. Remove it from the volume map. Remove it from all layers. What happens if we do this? Trace. It should be null. 982. That is null. Why is it being insane? Layer volume map gets sound layer is null. If I get sound layer here, it's true. Trace sound manager layer volume map gets layer. Something's really screwy here. 146 is getting it, even though on line 80. Sound layer. On line 82, this is null. $144. Bizarro world. So line 82, it is null. And then 84, saying the key exists. That's strange. I can't get over this. One. Is there more than one? Sound returns one. Subscribe to volume change. Something is just not right here. So sound layer, subscribe to volume change happens here. So I'm going to try this. I'm going to grab this group, and before anything happens, let's see what we got going on. Okay, so we actually have two sounds on here. That's a strange-ish problem. We have sound layer 1 on this list. Why? Sound manager is null. Sound layer equals null. 1, 2. So how is it getting more than one thing on here? So we only add one layer. There are actually two items on here. What the heck? All layers, name, sound layer, volume, trace, heading, sound layer. That's not going to be easy, so isolate this one test. Do this too. Adding sound there. Okay, so there is only one sound. Okay, so what I can't seem to understand why though. Adding sound there, so I only have one, so that's a true statement. Test 141 says that these two match. 81. We get our one match. 1, 2. '87, it's null. Doesn't even hit this loop now. Something is really bizarre. .147. So what's interesting is that like it's not even trace. '86, actually null, doesn't actually enter this loop. So there's no items in the layer volume map. But when we get it here, we actually have keys that match. And when we get it, it actually gets a value. Shouldn't be anything in here. Let's hit this on volume change. Ah, there it is. That's what it is that the function to unsubscribe is still being called. Wow, that was tricky. Because we have a reference to it. That is tricky. So what we should do is, wow, okay, that was a tricky one. So when we unsubscribe from volume change, we're actually going to call the function again directly. We don't need this or this. args0 sound layer. That's it. We don't need this anymore. There we go. Passed. Wow, that was brutal. And send manager test line 138. There we go. Tester back. Whew, wow. Okay, so that ate up a ton of time. So didn't get to finish off this. We're gonna comment this out. Was it later here? So let's get our add test, get status, get commits, all with a message. Started our sound manager, git push or master, git tag 2016-04-8 at 8:55 PDT, git push origin. That. Okay, so we got the code up there. You can review it. We're going to try and get back here. We got most of it ready now with the updates. I just out of time today. It's a bummer. So we're actually going to adjust the volume based on percentage. It's pretty darn close. I'm going to put this up on YouTube when we get a chance. If you guys want to ask questions, especially how I was working on this piece here with the callbacks and stuff like that, it can seem really complicated. You can also ask why I ran into that little issue and why I was able to solve it if you didn't catch it. And I'll see you guys on Monday, bright and early. Have a great weekend, everyone.